At 60, life starts to speak more softly, but with greater clarity. The rush gives way to calm, and what once seemed like noise becomes a signal. And one of the most important signals at this stage of life is this: not every family member is good for your emotional health. Growing older is also a time of reflection, a moment to protect your heart and your peace of mind. It's no longer about pleasing everyone or keeping relationships just because it's family. Now, it's about preserving your peace, your balance, and your freedom to be yourself. And that takes courage, because saying no to some relatives might feel wrong, especially if you've always put family first. But as Dr. Fernando often says, family should be a place of safety, not a source of pain. If someone in your family causes more hurt than comfort, it's time to take a step back. Of course, it's not easy. There can be guilt, fear, and a lot of doubt. But there is one thing that must come first now: your well-being. No one, absolutely no one, has the right to control you, disrespect you, or cause emotional harm just because they're family. Blood does not give permission for abuse. And this becomes even more important after 60. Dr. Fernando reminds us that part of aging wisely is learning to choose who deserves to be close, even if that means saying no to some relatives. Yes, it might hurt, but some people don't bring light into your life. They drain it. Staying close to those who don't respect your boundaries can deeply affect your health and happiness. And many times, out of habit or guilt, we keep relationships that no longer make sense, or even make us feel worse. This is not about turning your back on everyone. It's about emotional clarity. Family should not mean manipulation, pressure, or disrespect. In this video, we'll talk about 6 types of relatives you should avoid after 60, based on real stories and caring advice. We'll help you understand which behaviors can hurt your mental health and how to protect yourself with calm and confidence. The relative who treats you like you're incapable. This is the one who wants to decide everything for you: what you should eat, wear, watch, think, or say. They often claim it's just to help, but in reality, they turn your life into an extension of your teenage years. You end up feeling infantilized, watched, and questioned at every step. Dr. Fernando explains that this kind of control directly harms your autonomy. And without autonomy, sadness follows, along with a drop in self-esteem and the feeling of being a burden. After 60, you have every right to decide your own routine, preferences, and even your silences. Stay away from relatives who act like you can't manage your own life. This controlling behavior often hides behind concern. The person says they're only worried about you or just being honest, but deep down, they want to impose rules, decisions, and routines that aren't yours. Over time, this drains your emotional well-being and erodes the bond. According to Dr. Fernando, losing autonomy is one of the saddest aspects of aging. But it's often not natural. It's imposed by controlling relatives. This can lead to anxiety, discouragement, insecurity, and even social withdrawal. You don't need to cut ties completely, but you do need to set boundaries. Make it clear that you're capable of making your own choices and that you want them respected. And if the person keeps crossing that line, reduce contact. Taking care of yourself at 60 or 90 also means choosing who you let in and who you keep out. The relative who only shows up when they need something. They vanish for months, but show up the moment they need money, a favor, or advice. They never ask how you're doing, but they're quick to say you're the pillar of the family when they're in trouble. They use your kindness as a resource, but rarely return it with affection or presence. Dr. Fernando warns, a relationship based only on usefulness is an abusive one. You are not a bank, a free therapist, or an emotional tech support line. If someone only contacts you when they need something, maybe it's time to stop being so available. This kind of relative is great at using affection as leverage. They'll say they trust you, that they just need a little help, that it's just this once. And you, out of love, history, or habit, give in. But when you're the one who needs something, they're nowhere to be found. No calls, no visits, no concern. It's a one-way street. You give, they take. Dr. Fernando explains that this creates a dangerous emotional imbalance. You feel used, tired, and often guilty for not wanting to help again. It chips away at your self-esteem and builds a sense of constant obligation, even when it's hurting you. Worse, this pattern can go on for years, silently draining you. The relative gets used to your giving, and you get used to the weight. When you finally try to step back, they resort to emotional blackmail. After all we've done for you? Or, no one else cares about me. Dr. Fernando advises, stop, breathe, and reflect. How often has this person shown up just to check? In a day with no strings attached, how many times have they asked how you're doing without needing something? If the answer is never, it's time to change the pattern. Yes, you can help the ones you love, but real help can't come from emotional exhaustion. Learn to say no firmly and without guilt. Love isn't about constantly sacrificing yourself. Love also means knowing how to protect yourself. The relative who belittles your choices. This is the one who mocks your new haircut, your clothes, your habits, your eating style, your friends. Everything becomes the punchline of a harmless joke wrapped in a sincere opinion. Over time, you go quiet, hold back, and stop expressing yourself, and that's serious. According to Dr. Fernando, this kind of relationship wounds your identity. Respecting your choices is a key part of healthy aging. You don't have to justify your way of living to anyone. Avoid people who make you feel small. This relative often disguises criticism as concern. Phrases like, "I'm just joking," "I say it because I care," or "you're embarrassing yourself and don't even know it," are subtle ways to undermine your confidence. And when you're hurt, they say, "Geez, can't you take a joke anymore?" Dr. Fernando points out how damaging this behavior is because it attacks what's most important, your freedom to be yourself. At 60, 70, or 80, you don't need anyone's approval to live authentically. You have the right to try new things, wear what you like, listen to what brings you joy, and be around whoever makes you feel good, without asking permission or being made to feel ashamed. This kind of person is stuck in an outdated version of who you should be. And when you break out of that mold, they respond with sarcasm or judgment. But don't forget, your right to be who you are doesn't expire. It only grows stronger with time. You can distance yourself, emotionally or even physically. You can set boundaries in conversations, change the topic, or respond firmly. You're not obligated to tolerate comments that hurt you just because it's always been that way. Aging is a privilege, and aging in peace is a choice. If you've made it this far, type the number 4 and like this video. That's how I'll know you stayed with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest you do and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us keep creating helpful, informative content for you. Let's keep going. If you've made it this far, type the number 2 and like this video. That way I'll know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest you do and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. Your support helps us keep creating helpful content. Let's keep going. 4. The relative who's always complaining and spreading negativity. Every conversation feels like a therapy session. Nothing is ever good. The world is always falling apart. And life is a constant tragedy. And of course, everything is someone else's fault. This relative drains your energy and turns every visit into an emotional burden. Dr. Fernando explains that as we age, our emotional systems become more sensitive. Constant negativity can harm your mood, energy, and even your immune system. Protect yourself from this environment. You deserve conversations that lift you up, not ones that weigh you down. Being around someone who complains non-stop might seem like an act of compassion at first. You listen, try to comfort, offer advice, but nothing ever changes. The complaints repeat, the criticisms grow louder, and the atmosphere becomes emotionally suffocating. Dr. Fernando says this leads to a kind of exhaustion called empathy fatigue, when you're not physically tired but emotionally drained. This can cause insomnia, irritability, sadness, and even physical pain. People like this often don't realize how toxic they are. They're so wrapped up in their own dark cloud, they can't see the harm they bring. But you don't have to go down with them. You can still care, while protecting your own well-being. Limit how often you visit, shorten the conversations, and try guiding the talk to lighter subjects. And if they resist, it's okay to step back, without guilt. Your peace of mind should never be the price of staying in a relationship based on pain. Aging has nothing to do with drama or emotional weight. You have the right to choose the kind of energy you want around you. Choose peace, choose lightness. The relative who pretends to support you, but sabotages you. This one is the hardest to spot because they hide behind concern. They say they want what's best for you, but constantly plant doubts, highlight risks, and feed your fears. When you share something joyful, they find a problem. When you talk about a plan, they point out what could go wrong. They're a saboteur disguised as an advisor. Dr. Fernando explains that this behavior creates self-sabotage, emotional blockages, and psychological dependence. Step away. What you need is encouragement, not discouragement. Real support doesn't hold you back. It pushes you forward. This type of relative has a talent for posing as your protector while acting as a constant emotional brake. It's the person who never celebrates your achievements, who changes the subject when you show excitement, who questions your plans with passive-aggressive remarks like, "Do you really think it's not too late for that? Is that even appropriate for your age? I just don't want you to be disappointed. I'm being realistic." According to Dr. Fernando, this kind of relationship is deeply harmful because it gradually undermines your confidence. You begin to wonder if you're really capable. You start delaying projects, giving up on dreams, shaping your life around someone else's insecurities. And little by little, you stop living out of fear of making mistakes. But mistakes, Dr. Fernando reminds us, are part of life at any age. It's better to try something new than to grow old suffocated by regret. A relative who subtly discourages you is, in effect, telling you that you no longer have the right to grow, change, or reinvent yourself. You can still love this person, but that doesn't mean you need to share your plans with them. Create an emotional filter. Share your dreams with those who cheer you on. Talk to people who admire your courage. And emotionally distance yourself from those who cast a shadow over your light. Growing older with wisdom means surrounding yourself with encouragement, not fear. And all genuine support is first and foremost liberating. Blood ties do not justify emotional wounds. Yes, family is important. It can be a source of love, memory, and belonging. But family should never be a source of pain. It shouldn't feel like walking on eggshells, or a connection kept alive only by guilt, fear, or social obligation. By the time you reach 60 and beyond, life has already taught you, often through tears and silence, that healthy relationships are worth more than any shared last name. That presence without respect is just absence in disguise. That not every bond is love, and that keeping up appearances is never worth the cost of losing your inner peace. Dr. Fernando always reminds us, with both kindness and firmness, you have every right to distance yourself from someone who makes you sick, even if they're part of your family tree. You can love from afar. You can take care of yourself without sacrificing your dignity. You don't have to break yourself emotionally. For someone who refuses to value you, peace is a right, earned through choices. Lightness is a door that opens when you say enough. And well-being is a daily commitment that begins the moment you say, "Today, I choose to care for myself." May you have the courage to say no when needed, the wisdom to see who drains you and who recharges you. May you understand that setting boundaries isn't rejection, it's protection. May you sleep peacefully, knowing that safeguarding your emotional health is not selfish. It's wise, and if someone judges you for that, remember, no one but you knows how much it took to get here. Your peace is not up for debate. Your life is far too precious to be wasted on guilt, noise, or emotional pain. Choose your peace, and don't accept anything less than that. With care, Dr. Fernando.